Awesome. Welcome to Asheville Let's, the local exchange trading system. This is our orientation, and the purpose of this orientation is for all of you to gain an understanding of what a local exchange trading system is and how ours works. And then at the end of it, if you want to sign up, you get to sign up. So that's what this is all about. We organize it into sections, and we ask that you hold your questions till the end of each section. The titles are What is a Local Exchange Trading System? That gives you the basic overview. How it works is a little bit more detail about how Asheville Let's actually works. Hi, welcome. Just pull up a chair and join the circle. And value and pricing, and then taxes and legal concerns, and then we'll have a section where we can sign up at the end. Does anybody have an issue with the camera being here? We're filming the orientation for the website. Okay, awesome. So that's the way that it's going to be done. And if anybody has cell phones, if you can turn off your cell phones, that would be really helpful. So maybe to get started, we'll just get to know each other a little bit, and maybe say your name and something that you've done as a favor in the last couple years. And if you haven't done any favors for anybody in the last couple years, you might be in the wrong room, or you might need to learn how to do that sometime soon. So my name is Kila, and I'm an organizer for Asheville Let's. And I've been picking people up from the airport quite a lot these days. And I also was letting my friend live in the yurt that I built. Something I did
If they don't working properly, I'm going to try and help them out with some software issues.
Great, awesome. So Asheville Let's is the shortened name version of Asheville Local Exchange Trading System, and we launched 2 years ago. We've been going strong. We have about 300 members now, and we're trading more Let's per day than ever. And so it's a really great time to be joining the system because there's a huge range of skills and resources available in the system, which makes it work really well. So it's a really good time to join. I usually tell people about how I encountered Let's. All of this started for me personally 8 years ago when I was traveling in Scotland, and I was living in this old Victorian mansion that had been bought up by a community in the 60s. They do have hippies in Scotland. And so what this community did for money is they have weekend and week-long workshops, and that's what they did for money. So I was volunteering and living there, and one day while I was working in the kitchen, I found out that most of the produce that they were using to feed their participants, their workshop participants, they didn't actually pay pounds for, that they actually got it through a system called the Local Exchange Trading System, and they called the currency Let's. And I found out that they earned Let's by offering things that didn't cost them anything at all. They could offer up the use of a room while it wasn't being used for anything else, or they could offer up participation in a workshop that hadn't filled up. So they were able to earn Let's in a really easy way that didn't cost them anything. And then I found out that the farmer was actually offering produce that he wasn't going to be able to sell. It was excess produce. So he was earning Let's with something that he wasn't going to be able to make money on, and that came very easily to him. And I was really inspired by this because I said this works so differently than dollars or pounds or anything that I've seen, because it seems so much easier for people to exchange their resources, and they're using it for things that you don't see people using national currency for. So I looked into it, and I met some of the people who built the system there, and I learned a little bit more about where I was living. And this town named Forest is like a lot of places that we know about these days. It's a town where the industry just up and left one day, and so you had all of these people with these skills and resources, but they didn't have any way to move them around because nobody had any money. And so what the Let's system did was create a system of accounting to help people see each other's skills and resources and to help them to move it around, and that's basically what it did. And I saw that an entire community was really being built around this, and a lot of strong relationships were being developed. For instance, it includes a lot of people who have been isolated or on the fringes because you can offer so many things that you don't do professionally. In the Let's system, we can put all of our needs out there and also all of our offers. And a lot of what we need isn't necessarily professional services. Sometimes we need help weeding a garden. Sometimes we need somebody to pick up our parents from the airport because we're working that day, or for somebody to go buy us groceries and teas, when we're sick. So in a Let's system, you can be utilizing all of those different things. So that's an incredibly powerful thing, that it can be used for all of these different things. It also helps to promote recycling and repair. People can see each other's resources that we're ready to let go of and move along. There's a lot of people who, for instance, know everything about their bike and how to repair it, but they're not going to open a bike shop. but they can teach you about your bike, or they can fix your bike for you, so you can, you know, offer that on a Let's system. So a lot of times we let go of goods because we think it's going to cost so much to repair something, so we just throw it away. Also, we can share our resources. Not every household needs to have its own weed whacker. If we have a safe way to share our resources, then we consume less. It also helps to keep a lot of the resources in the local area. And I was incredibly kind of blown away by what the Let's system could do. It can also be a lifeboat in times of economic uncertainty, because if the larger economy is rocky or shaking, if you have networks and systems in place for people to be meeting each other's needs, then that is really beneficial for everybody. But even when things are more stable, it can really improve your quality of life, because a lot of the things that we can get through the Let's system, because it's easier to earn Let's, we can use them for things that we wouldn't ordinarily. For instance, I've gotten massages and handmade, locally designed lingerie through Let's, you know, things that I would never do with money, because money is really hard to come by. So, so Let's system is an incredibly powerful thing. And the actual local exchange trading system model started in the early 80s in Canada. It was a similar situation where the industry left, and it was a time where personal computers were becoming more accessible. So some of this complex accounting was becoming easier to do for people from their homes. So they created this system of trading, and but the spirit behind it and the ideas behind it are much older than that. Our view is really that it is more along the lines of old school mutual aid networks, where a community comes together to help a family build a house. You know, everybody knowing that in their time of need, the community is going to come together for them. So there are elements of local currency involved, kind of elements of mutual credit, and sometimes we call it indirect trade. And the basic way that we explain how it works is starting with a simple trade between friends. Say me and Scott. Everybody knows what trading is like, and that it really works out better than using money most of the time. But if me and Scott were going to trade, he would have to have something that I want, and I would have to have something that he wants, and we would have to have them in roughly equal amounts in order for that trade to happen. Well, in a Let's system, I can trade with him for Let's, and then I can trade those Let's with anybody else in the system. So it has the flexibility of a currency, but it has the values of a community favor exchange network is basically what it is. And that is a very powerful thing. A Let's system is kind of like, it opens a little window onto each other's world, so we can see all of those things that ordinarily we don't see that we can share. And when we all share easily what comes to us easily, there's an incredible abundance that comes forward. So that's basically what a local exchange trading system is. So are there any questions about the basic idea? Or anything?
The next thing we'll talk about is how it actually works.
Right, we'll get into more details. Okay, awesome. Then we'll go on to how it works.
Cool. Great. So the easiest way to talk about how these exchanges are made, how this network works, is to sort of envision a scenario. And so I mentioned at the beginning that I had just gotten a laptop from a coworker who is actually in the Let's system. So